So yeah, get ready for this year. It's time to move ahead. And you know, the dourness, the sadness, there's always room for that if that's coming up. But I'm trying to say, all right, I've had enough of that so far in 2021. And I want to get into these months and weeks that are coming now using Mercury, Sun in Pisces. Very auspicious turning point, I think. And it's a nice energy to move into the rest of the year with this week after the Aquarius pileup. So that's the astrology reading. Let's pull some tarot cards. Let's pull some of these tarot cards. Always good to be here, always good to be pulling cards. But yeah, you know, I'm getting optimistic. I'm kind of a pep talk to myself, actually, because it did hit me hard last week, the Aquarian 6 planets there piling up. There was times that I'm not really moving very well, and but I've got to, you know, I've got people depending on me, and I love people I love that I want to be there for, and you know, that's the one thing that love can always win. Love wins. You know, I love that sentiment because it can motivate. And with Venus and Mars squaring off, I think that's a good, actually, 2-word theme for that too. Love wins. Can motivate us to take the actions we need to take. So let's get this first card. Let's see what the cards want to say. All right. First card, Jack of Hearts. Rosemary, Lily, and the Jack of Hearts. You may know Bob Dylan. He's got a great song all about the Jack of Hearts. That's about love and kind of, actually it's about duplicity with the mercurial duplicity and how you have these kind of tricksterism. But there's a big theme of love in that song as well. This actually corresponds to Pisces. The theme of the video and the theme of the week. The idea that we're getting into Pisces season and getting ready for this rest of the year, the Jupiterian expansion into Pisces. So I love seeing that here. You may want to think back. This is in the first position, so it's telling me that we need to look back to Sagittarius season. And even to when Jupiter was in Sagittarius back in 2018. That is a time that the energies that you were able to embody during that period, and I see it with my clients and I see it in my own chart, how strong Jupiter was there and how good that felt. And then Jupiter fell off a cliff and we were in Jupiter in Capricorn, Saturn ruled. Now Jupiter's in Aquarius, Saturn ruled, but Jupiter comes into Pisces. And in any nativity, in any chart, the 2 houses that Jupiter rules are connected thematically. And that's why I'm saying a look back and maybe an analysis of what your Jupiter and Sagittarius story was can give you a little bit of a preview, maybe obliquely, but a preview into what this week will be kickstarted again, what will be warmed, and what you'll be getting ready for 2021 and 22 when you have Jupiter strong again in its domicile, this time in Pisces. So think about that look back. You know, and the other thing, anytime I see a jack, try to come just to more cartomancy, but the jacks can imply stopping and starting. It's a hesitancy, it's a transition, you know, and that's what happens with Jupiter. We get freed, but adjusting to our freedom can sometimes take time and it's uncomfortable. You know, too much, too fast can be destabilizing. So maybe it's a little bit of a warning here just to think about not overdoing the Pisces, and that's the darker side, right? They talk about Pisces as a diffuse, too much diffusion into the collective, and then we can't really move, or we're confused, or things are unclear. So yeah, I mean, it's not all just cherries and abundance. I mean, there is a dark side. Sometimes abundance as a singular motivation is the wrong motive. You know, it can actually take us down when we're only concerned with opulence and, you know, ostentatious opulence, this kind of thing. So, you know, think about, this is why I'm tying it to love. You know, if we love others and there's a sincere desire to help others, that can really ground, like an anchor, whatever opulence comes our way or whatever abundance we end up experiencing. And it's good to think about as we're getting into a stronger Jupiter energy, like, what's our motivations? You know, just getting clear about your motives, I think will really help you handle the success. Handling success is often just as tough as handling failure. A lot of times success can take people out. You know, you've seen that, we've seen that a lot. So let's get the second card. But I like seeing it. So already we're having synchronicity with the card pulls, just like every week. We've got Pisces, or the Jack of Hearts, which is corresponding to Pisces, coming right up. And that's the big, like I said, big theme of the week. Second card is, this is where we might get the Star. Okay, not the Star, but we get the Hermit again. And I'm fine with the Hermit here because it is corresponding to Virgo, and Mercury is a player this week when it stations direct. I'm thinking that this Hermit energy is more about the retrograde and those lessons that we maybe learned in the retrograde. It got dark, and what was that light that was carrying us through this Mercury retrograde? Remember, Mercury bona fide between the benefics. It had a lot of cool stuff happening here. The second half of its retrograde in Aquarius, a sign that it rules by triplicity with both benefic planets. So I'm thinking there might be some kind of light that you discovered. Something that happened here that you can carry with you now as you go forward, as it starts becoming daytime. That is what this card is telling me that's important. So what did you learn? Reflect briefly. What did you learn? I know for me, some of the social media stuff is changing a little bit. I'm kind of trying to grapple with, how I want to balance that out. And, everything's constantly changing, and it's, I think I'm taking some lessons I learned in terms of sustainable engagement with social media that can help me just have more offerings and more sustainable offerings to the world, to the community, to the astrological community. So those are some of the lessons I'm going to take with me. But you're going to have your own story. But this is very much what I think the Hermit is. And it may actually be saying here too, remember Mercury has to go all the way back through the 20 degrees or so of Aquarius. There may be still time here, and Mercury is Saturn ruled. This is Saturn, old, bearded dude. So I don't think we escape the Hermit quite yet, even though Mercury retrograde's over. And of course, modern astrologers will talk about the shadow. I think Mercury, stationed retrograde like in the late degrees, they're 25, 26, 27, I can't remember exactly. So there might be still wrapping up themes of this retrograde. And maybe this is telling us that we need to stay kind of contained and safe and maybe more insular and more focused on our inner light until maybe the second part of Pisces season or next week when Venus comes in. That's going to be a time when there's less Aquarius energy, and maybe even to the astrological new year. I mean, it's going to keep getting better and better is my read on this year. It's going to keep getting and escalate in its goodness astrologically until maybe that's Jupiter stationing direct, and then Jupiter comes back into Aquarius and we have to feel some of this Aquarian stuff again at the end of the year. So, okay, that's the tarot reading. Thanks for being here. It's an honor to communicate this to you every week. I'm very grateful to get to do it. As always, you can schedule astrology and tarot readings with me. Go to my website, sjanderson144.com. Click here to schedule a reading, and it'll take you to the scheduler. And have a wonderful week. Like I said, I'm really excited. This feels like a turning point in the positive direction after this very difficult climax. So enjoy it, and we'll talk soon.